Well, hello and welcome back, boys and girls, to our fourth and final installment of Fun with Biochemistry. Uh, Living things are made of chemical compounds, we know that. Some of them are simple, like water. Some are complex, like chocolate or caffeine. But chemistry is not just what life is made of, it's also about what life does. Everything that happens in a living organism is based on chemical reactions, and that's what we're going to study in this section. So get your paper ready. Remember, wide right, skinny left. And remember to leave enough room in that left-hand column to write questions. Okay? So get your paper ready, and I'll see you on the next slide. Okay, so to kind of review just a bit, a chemical reaction is defined as a process that changes one set of chemicals into another set of chemicals. Existing bonds break and new bonds form when this happens. Now, we have reactants and products. Remember, the reactants are the substances that are going into the equation or into the reaction, like water and carbon dioxide. And the products are the substances that are going out. So let's look at two very, very familiar chemical reactions. Photosynthesis, there on the top in the picture, and respiration, there at the bottom in the picture. In photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water are the reactants, and you see them to the left of the arrow. Glucose, the C6H12O6, and oxygen are the products. And C6H12O6, 6-12-6, that's a 1-to-1 ratio. So that tells me that C6H12O6, glucose, is a carbohydrate also, looking at it from the last section. Well, this goes on only during the daytime since light energy is needed to start this reaction. But the other reaction, respiration, uses the glucose that's produced by photosynthesis to produce energy that's needed to build new cells. This produces water and carbon dioxide as waste products, as we see in the formula above there in the yellow. Oxygen and glucose go in, and they release energy when they do that, and that plant uses that energy then to make new cells. And in the process, they give off carbon dioxide and water. Page 50 in the textbook shows another very, very common pair of chemical reactions that your body uses, and this is to transport carbon dioxide to the lungs. So it has a reaction that makes carbon dioxide more soluble so it can get to the lungs, and then those bonds break again and the carbon dioxide is breathed out. So take a look at that. See if you can identify the products and the reactants in each of those equations too. Now, in your body, reactions oftentimes just don't happen by themselves. They are really way too slow. So your body has special chemicals in it called enzymes. Remember that a catalyst is a chemical that speeds up the rate of a reaction. Okay, it makes the reaction go faster. An enzyme is a biological catalyst. They're found only in living organisms. So they speed up the rate of reactions that are happening within your cells. Enzymes are made from proteins, one of those 4 important carbon compounds. And this is a very important job of proteins, being an enzyme. One thing that is very unique to enzymes is that they are specific to the substances that they catalyze. They catalyze only one type of substance and no other. If you see this picture down here, and you're going to see a couple of others recurring that are very similar to this, so you get the idea of what an enzyme does. We have the enzyme in the blue, and it has an activation site, and we have the substrate, which is in the green, and it fits into the enzyme. And the chemical reaction happens, and the enzyme it helps the chemical reaction to occur fast so that the substrate breaks apart into the 2 chemicals there that you see in the pink and the purple. So let's take a look at this enzyme substrate complex one more time. The reactant in an enzyme catalyzed reaction is called the substrate. Okay, substrate is the thing that is being acted upon. Remember in the last slide when I said enzymes are specific? Okay, so that's how this works. Each protein has a very, very specific shape, and the substrate that it binds to has a complementary shape. The substrate stays bound to the active site until the reaction is complete. A good comparison that will help you understand how this works is think of a lock and a key. Okay, only one specific key will fit into a lock and make that lock open. Sometimes there's a key that goes into the lock, but it doesn't click all the tumblers, so it won't open the lock. So that would be an enzyme that doesn't work. Okay, so a key is the substrate and the lock is the enzyme, and when you have the correct key and the correct enzyme, it works. You're going to be doing a lab in class on Thursday, Friday with an enzyme called toothpick ACE, and that's going to kind of help you understand how this works. Another clue, anything that ends in ASE is an enzyme. Like lactase, it helps to digest lactose. So just another little side thing. Enzymes are essential to controlling chemical reactions in a living organism. And because conditions in any living organism are constantly changing, the effectiveness of enzymes are affected by the conditions in the human body. Okay, remember we're always trying to achieve homeostasis, or that balance. Now, there are lots of factors that can affect enzymes and how well they work. But the 2 main factors that can affect enzyme activity are pH, okay, so the pH in your body, or the temperature in your body. So when either one of these changes, like if you're running a fever, or you're suffering from exposure to cold, or you ingest too much of a substance like alcohol or even water, you can affect how well those chemical reactions are going with the enzymes. You can affect the activity of the enzymes in your body by having that homeostasis all discombobulated. And again, if you look at this picture, we see an enzyme with a very specific shape and a substrate with a very specific shape, and the enzyme binds to the substrate until it breaks the substrate apart, or sometimes it joins the substrate. So very specific. So a quick recap here about the important things in this section. The first is that about chemical bonds. Chemical bonds are formed or broken And when that happens, they release or absorb energy. All living things need energy. That was dinner. And something called activation energy gets things started. Okay, so that's our first main idea. Our second main idea is about enzymes. Enzymes are proteins that catalyze or speed up a reaction. Think of a lock and key to kind of remember how enzymes and their substrates work. Okay, they're very specific. Certain keys only open certain locks. And two things that definitely affect how the enzyme works are the temperature and the pH in the body. Okay, and thinking back to our little part of this unit on the properties of water, do you know why the white bear dissolved in water? Because it was polar. Yeah, I thought it was funny. Anyways, now don't forget, draw a line at the bottom, summarize this section, tell me what this section is all about, and I do not want to see the recap copied word for word, okay? Write it in your own words, guys. Then get with a study buddy or two and come up with 6 questions at least. 3 level 1s, 2 level 2s, and 1 level 1 question. See if you can kind of come up with questions that you think might be on next week's test. Okay? We'll see you in class. Bye, guys.